we talked about in the class, we talked about Bitcoin and their 4-year cycles. And shout out to Austin when he had mentioned the 4-year cycles of Bitcoin. And in that situation, this year would actually be projected to be the best year for Bitcoin in its 4-year cycle, because usually Bitcoin the last year of the run is the strongest run. That's what has happened historically, and this would be that last year of the 4-year cycle, and then 2026 would be the worst year. That's how it kind of trades off historically.
Hands out, yeah.
So if that's of any indicator, then 2025 will be a great year for Bitcoin. If history repeats itself. Once again, it might not repeat itself. Who knows? But historically speaking, 2025 historically would be a great year for Bitcoin if it follows that same pattern that it has followed for the last 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why it's important that we drew that parallel between Bitcoin and some of these stocks that are on the trading in NASDAQ, because the same energy that it takes to mine is the same energy that it takes to create some of these semiconductors. They all house inside of data centers. And so that infrastructure around who's creating it, who's having the power that runs to it, who has the connectivity that's going to it, all those things are going to matter. So you can see even a company like MicroStrategy, right? If Bitcoin is going to perform well, then this is another company that we presumably would perform well as well.
MicroStrategy bought 500 million of Bitcoin, which is the 7th week in a row where it's bought Bitcoin, but it's noticeably less than what they had been buying and what they were projected to buy. I think they were projected to buy 1.5 billion or even 2 billion. So they did continue their streak in buying Bitcoin, but they did purchase lower. And I think their average buy-in for the last couple of weeks has been $106,000. So they bought at high prices. Yeah. But they have continued to keep buying. So they bought $500 million of Bitcoin. Yeah. But that is less than what they have been buying.
Yeah, which is interesting. If you watched their chart last week, you saw that there was a pullback. Well, they sold shares to buy more Bitcoin, and so that parallel. I mean, it's interesting. They now have passed BlackRock in ownership of Bitcoin, right? With the latest purchase, which is like, okay,
it's impressive.
We're going for it. We're going for it. I think they now are at almost 500,000 Bitcoin, and BlackRock's right around 472,000 or something like that. Yo, he's going for it, man. He's going for
Larry, you gotta hit that button like more than once. You gotta hit accept so the other orders go through. So
he can do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about that. But next year, revelation coming. But go ahead.
More money to be made.
Revelation on what? For BlackRock?
Rashad.
Who Satoshi is?
Yep. Shout to Langley.
A monument. He gotta get a monument somewhere.
Appreciate y'all. And y'all quit talking about my shout outs. I'm gonna shout out who I want to shout out and do what I want to do. When is MicroStrategy's earning call again?
I'll get to you in 2 seconds.
I want to see that profit. You gotta look it up just to go see what the profit margin is. But no, I will give them credit for not buying as much for at such a high of a price. If it gets back into the 90s, I think they definitely should buy more.
Well, it's 90s now.
Yeah,
which is helpful because so I think it's 92, something like that, 93, 90, 92-ish, 93-ish.
Yeah.
So, I think
90,
the low 90s, I think, would be an attractive price. If it gets to the 80s, you got it.
A definite buy at that point.
You got to like it in the 80s.
We all circled 77. We heard a couple of people. We watched charts as well, but when we talked to Mike Novogratz, he was saying that 77 number. And I went back and looked at the charts. The same way that you read a stock chart, the same way you can look at Bitcoin, and you can start looking at what a pullback is going to be. You can start to see where support is at, where resistance is at. That 77 to 79 number.
No, what he said was that he said if it gets to 77, that's something went wrong. He didn't think that
No, he said it would pull back.
No, he said he didn't think that it was going to get as low as. He didn't think it was going to get to where it was pre-election, which is 77. He didn't think it was going to get there. Because he said if it gets there, something went wrong. I don't think it gets back to 77. That's what he said. He's like, he didn't think it was going to get back to 77.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see it there.
I mean, but that would be a hell of a buying price, though.
Right. And I see it there.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at his lines of retracement, like it's there. You can see like there was support there.
What would cause it to get that low?
That was his thing. He was like, something had to go wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't know what causes it to go high. It's just one of these things.
I mean, what causes it to go high is that Trump's appointing. He's talking about a Federal Reserve.
Yeah,
Bitcoin,
people front ran it.
Yeah, the most pro crypto. BlackRock buying a ton of it. UAE buying 50 billion. Like that's what's causing it to go higher.
But those things are kind of baked into it, right? You can watch that climb when they already started predicting this in September when we saw it started to appreciate, right? With just the thought that he was going to win. Then you might name a czar.
Yeah, but once he actually won, yeah.
And once he actually won, it was like, all right, now let's take off. And then it was like, all right, well, what's moving it now? Like, what is the catalyst now? That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's just hypothetically, like, all right.
I don't think it's hypothetically because, like I said, you still see MicroStrategy buying $2 billion, $1 billion worth of Bitcoin every single week. That's real. That's happening in real time.
But they've consistently done that.
They said UAE, but I'm saying they're upping their ante. That UAE, they said 50 billion. That's a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
But they said that they just did that, right? So now you're gonna start to see nations are catching FOMO, right? And when you start,
my bad. Go ahead.
So no, that's things that's really happening in real time. And then, like I said, on the political rhetoric, when Trump is saying that, talking about a Bitcoin reserve for the U.S., that's a historic moment. And when he's appointing every single person in his cabinet is pro crypto, and his son is giving speeches about cryptocurrency to foreign entities. These are real, like that's real stuff that's really happening that could actually.
On the institutional side.
Yeah.
What's the measurement? How do we now gauge where it's supposed to go from that, right? Because we knew that was the stance going into it. He's named people already. Yes, we're going to be pro crypto. We've already established that. Yes, there will be more countries, but it hasn't happened.
I think what Ian is asking, like, it's for it to go down drastically.
What would happen?
What would happen? It would have to be a government.
And I think it's a great question for everyone watching.
What's the catalyst that goes for the downtrend?
Go research. Also, too, if every nation is starting to be pro crypto, that is a hedge for what is to happen over the next 4 years.
Inflation and the devaluing of dollars across the world.
That's all boy on TikTok do, right? There you have it. Two big reasons.